No slits are blueberries, and half circles are apples. And of course we got our cherry ones in the middle. Bon appetit! We're going to be making apple tortillas from my very cool tortilla recipe book. And I'm not going to make my tortillas from scratch. We're going to go with the $2 bag of tortillas from the store. And then we're going to go with a $2 bag, under $2 bags of brown sugar. Less than 50 cents worth of sugar. Some ground cinnamon, olive oil, and we have 3 different flavors of fruit. So instead of apple tortillas, we're going to be doing apple tortillas, cherry tortillas, and blueberry tortillas. And we're going to make them, we're going to fry them like fritters. So I'm going to be doing them 3 different ways with 3 different fruits. And then we got that's pretty much it. It doesn't take a lot of ingredients. These cans are only about $1 something each. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and have a pan here with about a ½ inch of olive oil to fry my fritters in. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this in here. And I'm pan frying, I'm not deep frying. So you only want enough oil to basically coat about half of the fritter at one time. And remember, when you put your fritters in here, it will rise. So that's probably, let's say, that's about a cup of olive oil. We are going to make our cinnamon sugar dip. My pan is on, so my grease is getting hot. I will keep an eye on that. We're going to make our topping real quick. A tablespoon of cinnamon. You could do a ½ tablespoon if you like. 2 tablespoons sugar, regular table sugar. And if you want to make this healthier, you can omit this and you can sprinkle them with honey instead of the sugar mixing. So we've got 2 tablespoons of sugar and now 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. This is going to be our topping. And again, you don't have to do this stage if you want it to be a little bit healthier and less sugar on it, but this is the fun part about the topping. It makes it extra delicious. So I'm going to do about 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Heaping. I'm going to use a fork to just kind of press down the brown sugar into the sugar and the cinnamon. And then I'm just going to kind of like slide it around and mix it up together. So this is kind of like a little crumble that we're going to dip them in after we fry them. So I have this pretty much mixed. It doesn't have to be exact or perfect. Make sure that cinnamon's not in clumps, so don't get one big old bite of cinnamon. So this is basically our cinnamon sugar mixture. And it smells delicious. We're going to set that aside for when we're ready for it. We're going to start with apples. So I'm going to do them in 3 different shapes and show you 3 different ways that you can make them. Okay, one more ingredient that I forgot about is the egg wash. Now this is going to be what we're going to use to stick the tortilla together after we fill it. So I usually just use the egg whites and not the yolk. So I'm going to go ahead and separate my egg here into my bowl. And as I crack it, I'm going to just let the clear part fall out. And I'm going to just toss the yellow part back into the other side a few times just to get it all. Okay, so now that I have my egg white, this is what I'm going to stick my tortillas together. So I'm going to go ahead and just whip this a little bit. This makes it a little bit more sticky. This is going to be the glue. So you're going to set that aside. And again, I use a fork, but you can use whatever method, your fingers, the back of a spoon. I'll show you how we will do that here in a second. This part's super easy. You can heat this up in a pan if you want to, but because I'm going to fry it, it's going to get heated up in my fritter, so I'm not going to worry about that part. Okay, so just go ahead and put it in a bowl, and then we're just going to chop it up into smaller pieces. The reason why you want your pie filling to be in smaller pieces is because we have to fit it inside of a small tortilla. So we actually need it to be more bite-sized. So chop right through those apples. They're super soft. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You just need them to be bite-sized pieces. So I'm just going to use my super sharp knife to just kind of chop through all these little apples. Okay, so there we have our apple filling. You can add more spices to this, like nutmeg or cinnamon. I'm going to go ahead and just go with it how it is. Alright, so I'm going to make these on a piece of wax paper. And I'm going to take my tortilla. Really easy, really simple. We're going to do the half circle shaped on the apple pies, okay? So yeah, I'm going to put that in the middle. I'm going to spoon in, and I'm going to try to get more apples than sauce. I'm going to spoon in about 3 tablespoons of apples right in the middle, okay? And now, my bite. Now we're just going to fold it in half, like so, okay? So you're going to get your shape. Now on this little, don't completely close it yet, on this little opening fold, we're going to take our egg wash, get it on your fork, and you're just going to go across like a rainbow the edge of the tortilla with the egg white. Now you're going to put this top of the tortilla onto the egg white, onto the bottom the bottom tortilla, and then you're going to take your fork and you're going to just press the edges close. So because we're working with tortillas and not pie crust, this is how we're going to keep it from opening up when we put it in the grease. So we're just going to do this. And then I usually, because they are tortillas and they're a little bit thicker, I do flip it and I crunch it on the back side as well. Okay, so there we have our pre-apple fritter. And I'm going to go ahead and put these to the side. And then we will make a few more. So I'm going to go ahead and put about 3 tablespoons of apples in the middle of my tortilla. I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half, almost completely in half. Now I'm going to take my fork back in that egg white. Don't forget to play with your food. Okay, and you're just going to put the egg white, wash it right here on the edge. Okay, make sure your apples stay inward. And then kind of push them in towards the center as you push your top of the tortilla down. Like so. Now we're going to get our fork and we're going to crimp it. You could get a whole assembly line going and have these done in a matter of minutes. It's pretty easy and fast. Buy the tortillas, buy the filling. All you need is to put it together and put it in the grease, right? So here we have our second one, and it's nice and sealed closed. Don't put too much, you don't want that too soggy on the edge because the sogginess can make it tear open. So make sure you keep your tortilla as dry as possible. Even though we're putting all the sticky filling and the egg white on it, we don't want to overdo that part. So we're just going to go ahead and make these. And just going to crimp the edge. You need to get a dry piece of wax paper. Do so your tortilla doesn't get soggy. I'm going to just probably be able to fold mine in half. And I got a dry side right there. Keep that tortilla fresh. And let's just make one more of these. That one's still got some big chunks in it. And some small chunks. There we go. So eggs are used as a binding agent, and that's why they work really good to keep the tortilla. Okay, and there we have it. So we got 4 apples, and let's make blueberry. I'm going to go ahead and get me another little piece of wax paper. You can use a plate too. Just clean off your plate and dry it, and then you're ready to go again. Okay? We're going to do blueberry, and this time I don't need a bowl because it will be small enough pieces because they're blueberries. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. So for this time, I'm going to shape this like an apple pie. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 tortillas together. And then I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to kind of cut it into a kind of a big rectangle. So I'm going to do a slice up here and a slice right here, okay? And it's not going to be a perfect apple pie shape, but we still want it to be big enough to be able to get some filling in the middle and to close it on the edges. So I'm going to leave it just like that. Now we're going to take the 2 pieces. We're going to take our blueberry spoon and we're going to just put a few blueberries. Let me stir it up a little bit so I can get a little more blueberry and a little less gel. Alright, so I'm going to just make a line this time. And I'm going to try to keep it as thin as possible. I'm going to get a few more blueberries in here. Just like that. Let's see. Let's see if we can make that work. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and do my egg wash first this time, alright? So I'm going to put a little bit on both sides. I'm going to just go up and down the edge here. Like so. And alright, so we got that one painted. So we have the opposite side painted. And this side has the blueberries, okay? So this one got the egg wash and this one got the blueberries. Now we're going to put the one with the egg wash on top of the one with the blueberries. And you're going to kind of make a little dent on top there. Kind of like push it together a little bit. And we're going to put the sides and then the edges. So we're going to crimp the sides. And you could get really creative and do them heart-shaped. If you can cut your tortilla in the shape of a heart, you can make some heart-shaped fritters, fruit fritters, tortilla. And so I'm just going to go ahead and do that again on this side. There we go. And now I'm going to flip it over. Actually, let me do the edges first. Alright, so I'm going to push them in with my fingers to make sure there's no pie filling right there. And if a little squeezes out, that's still okay. Try not to poke too deep with your fork so you don't put a hole for the juice to come out. And then, this is probably the most tedious part, is just putting, crimping the tortilla together. Again, because it's not like pie crust, it's not as easy. You can't just pinch it with your fingers. You do have to use the glue. And I find the fork method, the glue and fork, the egg white and fork, make it perfect. So, as you can see here, I have a beautifully stuffed blueberry fritter that just needs to be fried. So I'm going to go ahead and do that a couple more times. A little bit like a rectangle here, but nice and thick enough that I can still fill it. Split it in half. One side gets the egg wash. There, that was a good application. So, try not to get it in the center because it'll make it soggy. Try just to get it on the edges. And then here I'm going to try to do my blueberries in a line, just like so. Can you see that? Okay, it was a little bit over there, wasn't I? Alright, so we got our blueberries in the middle. Let's put a few more blueberries in here. Okay, now I'm going to take my egg wash side and I'm going to put it face down. And I'm going to crimp the sides first. And then the edges. And there we go. Let's fork it together. Just like so. Flip it so we can make sure it's really mashed together. Alright, so there's my beautiful blueberry pocket for apple, for tortilla thingy. Alright, I'm going to fold my wax paper inside out for a dry spot. I like using this so I don't have to do extra dishes. And I'm going to do that same thing one more time. So I'm going to get 2 tortillas stacked on top of each other. I'm going to go ahead and cut the short sides like so. Okay. And I still have this beautiful spot here. Split it in half. I'm going to do an egg wash on one side. Just on the edges there. And like that. I got my pie filling right here. So you could feed a lot of people with just one can and a couple bags of tortillas. You probably need 2 bags for all of that, because I am running low on tortillas already. Okay, so this one was cool because I was able to find the one that had no added sugar to it. And again, cherries are small, bite-sized, so I won't have to cut these up. So we could just go ahead and get it right out the can. Get my cherry spoon. Okay, and now I see my tortilla. So I'm going to make my pies, right? But I'm going to cut little slits in them, okay? So we're going to do 2 tortillas again, like so. So we'll just cut this side, and we'll cut this side, okay? And now I'm going to take the side that I'm going to put the egg whites on, okay? I'm going to actually just cut, and I'm just going to do 3 of them right here in the middle. So I'm going to cut out a little pie-shaped crescent, okay? And what that looks like, it's just literally like a little sliver. So you're just going to cut 3 little slivers into the top if you want them to look kind of like McDonald's apple pies. But again, I will be making a copycat McDonald's apple pies. So look forward to all my copycat McDonald's recipes, so I can be cooking them at home where they taste better and they're healthier for me, but it's still the same fun food. And if you haven't already hit the like and the bell and subscribe, please do so. And leave a comment so I know what copycat recipe you want to see me do next. Why I make these just a little bit more perfect. Okay, so here we have it. And this is going to be the side that we egg wash. So I'm going to go ahead and egg wash this side that I just cut the slits into. And again, I just want the edges. I just want the egg whites on the edges. I don't want it in the middle. I just want a little thin layer on the outside. Too much, it'll get too soggy. Not enough, it might not stick. So just a thin little layer there. And now I'm going to do the same thing I did with my blueberries. I'm just going to put a thin little line of cherries on my tortilla. And I'm trying to get a little less of the juice and a little more cherry on there. There we go. So I'm going to put my egg washed side onto my cherries. Now be real careful you don't press the top of this one, okay? Because then those cherries will come out of the top. So you just want to make sure you make a little bit more of a tint on this one, okay? So we tinted it, and you can kind of tell because this one is sticking out and this one's inside of it. So the top one's a little bit more narrow than the bottom piece here. Okay? And now we're going to get our fork, and we are going to, I'm trying to get that, keep the cherries from falling out. There we go. Alright, so I'm just going to fork this down. And now we will be able to know which one is which. Our blueberries don't have the crescent-shaped holes in them, and our cherry ones do. And of course our apple ones are half circles if you just want to do the easy route and do a crescent-shaped one. I'm not going to flip this over, so I'm going to just go ahead and extra smash this down with the side of my fork instead of flipping it, because I don't want to lose my cherry sauce by turning it over and flipping and forking the back side. So here we have it. And we will put this on our plate as well. Let's do it again. Alright, so I'm going to make my rectangle. Make it a little bit wider than last time. Let's see. Now I'm going to put the bigger side on top. Okay, if one's a little bit shorter than the other one, put the bigger one on top. Because we're going to need a little extra play in it. And I'm going to try to make that a little bit smaller. That's probably just perfect right there. Alright, again, and if you have a cookie cutter, you can use that. But I find the tip of a sharp knife does just fine. Okay, so we have our 3 little slits. And now we're going to egg wash the edge. And we're going to fry them. We're going to get to frying. Okay. So we'll just make this final one here. Alright, and just make sure we got a nice good glue on the edge there. And we will get, alright, so I'm just going to try to get just the cherries. Just the cherries out there. Okay. And see if we can fit one more cherry down here. I'm trying to get greedy there. I got a little too greedy. Get some of that sauce off. You can take some of that excess sauce out so it's a little bit more cherries. And then we are going to put this on here. And remember, we need a little bit of a tint to shorten the walls. And it does work to use your fingers. Of course. The fork seals the deal. So I'm going to go ahead and seal this. And make sure that they are connected on all sides. And let's get to frying. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put our grease back on a stove. And we're going to go ahead and get a few paper towels ready. Because we are going to have to... Actually, do I drain them? We'll have a couple paper towels ready just in case we need them. But we should be able to take them directly from the grease into our topping mixture. So let's see. Okay, so we're going to put them in our grease. And then we're going to put them into our topping. Oh! Just got sugar everywhere. Make sure that your topping is nice and loose and not clumpy, because we need this to be like a dipping powder to say. So my grease is almost hot enough where I go ahead and finish the moisture in the brown sugar is what clumped it together. That's why you can make crumbles with brown sugar as the topping on your desserts. So just make sure that if you did make it beforehand, that it's nice and crumbled. Nice and powdery. So that it will actually stick to our fritter. And the grease will kind of make it clump up too. So in between mixes, just try to, in between frying, just try to keep it as loose as possible. There we go. It's nice and powdery on the bottom. There we go. So, I'm going to go ahead and get my grease spatula. And I do have 2 different sizes here, just in case this one doesn't work, I got to back up. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my apple fritters, and I should be able to put 2 of these in at a time. So it's not quite hot enough. Let's go ahead and put our second one in there. Alright, so we do want those that grease at 300. And I'm going to go ahead and flip these. These got a little bit crispy. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that the edges are cooked. At this point, the turnover is cooked, so I'm just gonna grill like golden brown this bottom side so it's not soft like a tortilla. So you do want your grease at about 300 and it'll only take a few minutes to cook each side. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hurry up and I'm going to take these out. So flip both sides. Alright, and then there we have it. Our apple turnover. So let's make sure we got the grease on both sides without splashing it on yourself. Go ahead and take it out. And then dump it directly into your sugar mixture. Without getting grease everywhere. That is the tricky part. So, there we go. And shake it off a little bit, and there you go. You have your crunchy apple fritter. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put them in our oil. It's nice and hot. It only takes a second, okay? You don't want them burnt. You just want them nice and golden brown. Oh, they're looking delicious. So you could go ahead and do a sneak peek. Okay. Again, they don't have to be too crispy. They are good when they're nice and crunchy. Alright, so there we go. We're just going to go ahead and make sure we fry this other side here. That's looking beautiful and golden brown. There we go. So you might have to get 2 utensils to keep from getting grease everywhere. If you have one of those deep fryers, the hot wing deep fryers, you're welcome to use that too. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take this off. And I'm going to put it directly into my topping here. And I'm going to flip. Hurry up and flip. Because I want it stuck to both sides. I'm going to bury it in cinnamon sugar. And again, if you don't have it sticking as much as you want, kind of notice one side sticks a little better than the other. And again, you don't need too much of this. A little bit goes a long way. So let's go ahead and do that to this one. And, oh, getting grease everywhere. So we're going to go ahead and put this side down in our grease, and we're going to flip it. Ooh, hot. So, there we go. Oh yeah, that's a nice thick coating there. Alright, so let's try to make it a little bit more symmetrical. And there we go, okay? So those are our apple ones. And they look absolutely delicious. So what you could do at this point is add some more sugar just to lighten it up a little bit, make it a little less greasy. Then I go ahead and mix that into my mixture that I still have, because we want it to stick to our fritters. Okay, so we're going to do that with our blueberries. Now we'll see how many of these we can fit out, but we'll probably just have to do one at a time here. There we go. Get them going at 2 different times. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this one. Oh, and it's perfectly golden brown on that side. We'll give it just a second. Let's see about this other one, huh? Oh yes, it's beautifully in golden brown too. There we go. Just golden. Delicious looking. I'm so excited to try these. I hope you try them with your loved one. This one's done, so let's go ahead and put it in my sauce. And we're going to roll that around, and we're going to flip it. Kind of give it a nice even coating there. And these are super hot. Do not forget that they are super hot. And there we go. Okay, so here is our first blueberry. Oh, we should have put that one in, huh? Alright, so let's go ahead and take our other one out. Loosen up our topping. Let's take this crispy one out. Now I'm going to put it directly into the grease. Now I'm going to put some grease on top just to see if I flip it, if it helps hold it on both sides a little better. So, and the fresher you're topping, the better it sticks, but it will still stick. There we go. Wow. There we are. Beautiful. Beautiful homemade. There we go. Flip that one time. Okay, I got my grease at 300 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and put these bottom side in. Nice and hot. I should be able to fit 2 here. There we go. Alright, so now when I get to the other side, I'm just going to flip them over really quick. I'm going to just fry the other side for a few seconds. But I want to make sure I cook them mostly on this side. So I don't want them to burn. They need just a second more. Alright, now they're turning golden, so I'm just going to flip it for just a second on this other side. And there we go. We made it. Alright, so I'm going to take these out and I'm going to put them face down. I'm going to put the slit side on the topping. So the bottom's going to be plain. And I just need a second. That's all I needed. It was just a second. Careful, don't splatter on you because the moisture from the cherries are really wet. So now I'm going to put a face down right here. Like that. So it's going to give us a little bit of a dusting here. But then we can still see the slits in the top. So that's how I want that right there. Let's go ahead and put this one in the grease and let's take this one out. Beautiful. Look at how beautiful. Now we're going to go face down into the topping. And remember, it's hot. And I just want a little bit. Oh, you can see that beautiful juice oozing out of the slits from the cherries. Because I want to be able to see the slits in my cherry pies. Or technically these are cherry tortillas. So we got apple tortillas, cherry tortillas, and blueberry tortillas. And be careful you don't burn yourself. And again, we just need this for just a second. Alright, and I got that smoking hot. Look at that. Beautiful. Ah, chaos. Beautiful chaos. I'm going to put it face down in my topping. I'm going to go ahead and take this off the heat. So let's put this somewhere where we can't hurt ourselves. And then let's finish this off. Go ahead and turn that off. And of course, you kind of like to gather up there where your holes are. Where the cherry holes are. There we go. Oh, that just looks so beautiful, doesn't it? Yay! Okay, so here I have my finished product. And as you can tell, we know wood is wet because no slits are blueberries and half circles are apples. And of course we got our cherry ones in the middle. Bon appetit! Thanks for joining me in my cooking lab, and I hope you have a great time making these for your loved ones.